Hi, I'm Weston. I love talking about the Astros, and I'm here to talk about Game 113 of the regular season. Astros win 5-0 over the Colorado Rockies, and the Astros have finally beaten a bad team. It has taken a hot minute, really. Uh, yeah, they've had the Astros this season are just so strange against not good teams, right? They don't have a losing record, but they have had so much trouble against lackluster teams that going into the series that really, by all rights for the Houston Astros, should be a slam dunk, right? It's only 2 games, it's in Minute Maid, it should be easy. And going into it, it's a question mark. You really don't know if you're going to win or not. They take the first game pretty convincingly. Hopefully they can get tomorrow's and take the 2-game series against the Rockies. That would be ideal, especially since he just lost 3-1 to the last series, which was that really should have been an easy series victory for us. That just wasn't. But, c'est la vie, that is in the past. We can move on to tonight. Jake Odowinzzi got the start for the Astros. He was pretty darn fantastic. 5 scoreless innings, nothing more you can ask for there. Maybe it was a hair early for Dusty pulling him in the 5th, or after the 5th, but I'm not going to complain because he has had trouble going through the lineup for a 3rd time and just really getting deeper into starts. So I'd rather shortchange him maybe an inning or more likely just an out or 2 and not give up any runs than maybe let him go through the 6th and give up a pair or more of runs, which, let's be honest here, I defend Jake Odowinzzi. That's very possible for that to happen. So, first inning, Jose Altuve, he had a couple of really great defensive plays tonight. First one was on the second batter of the evening, just a perfect throw on a relay from Kyle Tucker over to third base to Odowinzzi Diaz. Jose Altuve, he's got an arm. He can throw. It's crazy. You forget about it sometimes because he's, among other things, he is a fantastic second baseman, obviously, probably the best in baseball for the past decade. That's not really up for debate. But he's pretty darn good defensively, and we kind of forget that because he's mostly just talked about as an offensive second baseman. He's got good defense. This was great just on the arm. He had a great one later in the evening. I forget who it was against, but it was this fantastic diving play over the center field, and then on his knees made a great adjustment to get a throw over to first base. It was beautiful. He had a couple of just magnificent defensive plays tonight. He also cashed in offensively because, of course he did. So was Altuve. Don't be shocked there. So that happened early on. In the 4th, right, John Gray makes an error. He just kind of smacks the ball with his foot. And I've said this a lot. And guess what? I'm going to say it again. A place where the Astros succeed is just putting the ball in play. That helps. You're forcing their defense to not make mistakes. And when they do, you have a good enough offense that you can cash in on it. And the Astros did. Jazz McCormick hit a single, and that scored a run in the 4th. It made it 1-0. And then after that, Taylor Jones with this really odd, I believe it was ruled a double, it was, with an error that let him get over to third base on a Charlie Blackmon throwing error. It was a really weird one by him where he just kind of spiked the ball into center field. But that made it 3-0. The Astros got 3 free runs just by putting the ball in play instead of striking out. And that's where the Astros kind of make their living, is just putting it in play. It's a great advantage of not striking out. A little bit later on in the 5th, Altuve, to start the inning, would get hit by a pitch that was right after the great defensive play going across the middle. Brantley would double. That would score Altuve. He was on his horse just coming home. It's Altuve. Let's not be surprised here. Then in the 6th, Altuve, he would hit a single. That would score Taylor Jones. That would make it 5-0, which was the final score of the game. Again, pitching-wise, Jake Odowinzzi was great. 5 innings, 3 strikeouts, pair of walks, 3 hits. No runs, though. That's pretty darn good. Christian Javier was fine. 2 innings, gave up a hit, pair of walks, but he got a pair of strikeouts. Nothing too shabby there. Blake Taylor came in 2/3 of an inning. He gave up a walk, but he got a strikeout. Nothing too shabby there. Nothing to complain about. Yimi Garcia got an out. So he came in for just a split second earlier in the game. And Pedro Baez finally makes his debut for the Astros, and he was pretty darn good. Gave up a hit on his first batter, but got a strikeout later in the inning. Got out of it scoreless. no complaints there. He seems okay through the first inning, which is about as descriptive as it could possibly. What can you take from one singular inning, right? But from his inning, he looked fine. Which, if you could get that guy in the bullpen and he be above average, just even slightly. Like, when I say above average, I don't mean an all-star caliber reliever. I mean 120, 125 ERA plus. That's what I'm hoping for. Just slightly above average reliever ERA, where he isn't a liability going out there, like so many members of our bullpen are. But again, great game for the Astros tonight. Offensively, Brantley had the RBI double. Altuve had the hit by pitch. He also had the RBI single. Chas McCormick had a pair of hits. He's been doing fantastic. Thought he was going to have a home run earlier or later in the game, but it was a fly out. But he had really good contact and just didn't quite hit it to the Crawford boxes. Hit it into that weird little alley next to him, which was a bummer. Taylor Jones surprisingly also had a pair of hits and a pair of RBIs. Taylor Jones has kind of been solid recently. Like the past 2 or 3 games, he's been kind of turning it on, which is good. Not to get like morbid or anything, but Yuli isn't going to play forever. I don't know if necessarily Taylor Jones is the replacement down the line, but it's great to see someone at a position that you kind of have to have in the back of your mind you might need to replace eventually, like in the next 3 or 4 years. And he's playing good right now for this little stretch. It'd be great to see if he can keep it up. I'm not sure that he would consistently find playing time once everyone's back and healthy, but if you have that guy as a depth player, that'd be great. Overall, this was just a really solid win for the Astros. I have no real complaints about it. We play tomorrow an early game, 2:10 Eastern, 1:10 Central, which is kind of nice. I like afternoon games. I can't explain why. I just think they're kind of relaxing, quintessential baseball. We are going to send out Framber Valdez. They send out Antonio Senwazelet. Oh, good Lord, I'm butchering that. I'm sorry, Rockies fans, for how I horribly mispronounced that name. He rolls in with a 4.73 ERA. Framber Valdez rolls in with a 3.22. Hopefully, the Astros can take the series. Hopefully, Framber can get back on track. He's been a little shaky as of late. That'd be great to get him back to normal. Just a good overall night. I have nothing really bad to say about the game. Anyway, that is all I have for this evening. I'll be back here tomorrow afternoon. Thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic day. And as always, go Astros.